And welcome to episode 36 of the Bunker to Bunker podcast, I believe. This is our second time having on my brother Justin to talk about the Masters. Had to bring him back on after the Players recap, which was a wild tournament for the podcast, myself and for Justin. And I thought, why not bring him back to talk Masters? Hopefully this becomes a tradition for the Segal brothers. But last week we had on Patrick McDonald from CBS Sports. We kind of talked about the top storylines going into Augusta. So if you haven't checked that out, which was posted last Monday. But we are recording right now, Sunday, April 7th, leading into the Masters, 12:35. So the Valero Texas Open is still going on, but want to get this out early for the people. So this is more of a Masters preview with the players, kind of talking through who we like, who we dislike, kind of some predictions, and we'll, obviously say who we think wins the green jacket by next Sunday night. So Justin, I kind of want to start this podcast off with a little fun question, and what is your favorite hole at Augusta National?
So first of all, I just wanted to say it is a honor being back on the Bunker to Bunker podcast, and I'm happy it didn't take another 30 plus episodes to get me back on the podcast.
Won't ever let that down.
But at Augusta National, I think there's just so many good holes to choose from, but I'm gonna say number 11. It's obviously the first hole of Amen Corner, and I just believe that I think like always plays as like the toughest hole. It's like a 500 plus yard par 4 with water on the left side of the green, and there's like a lot of pine straw to the right. And I just really like to see when like the tour players struggle, and I feel like I'd say like most people can agree with that because like they're just golfers, and I just believe that hole like always plays really hard, and I think it's like a very beautiful hole. So I'd say number 11 would be my favorite hole there.
Yeah, I was between 11 and the hole that I'll talk about, but for me, like number 11 is just like if you go way right into the Pine Straw Streets, like, you have to lay up and you kind of have to bail out to like the right, and there's kind of like a runoff hill on like the right hand side, so like you have to get like up and down. So like if your short game isn't strong, and you don't hit that green in regulation, like that's a tough up and down. So that hole really can make or break a round, especially that early on the back nine, which I'll get into someone who kind of costed his chances last year in round one, who you might, I think you know who I'm talking about. But my favorite hole is the 13th hole. It's the hole that Phil hit his insane shot from like the pine straw through the trees, and he he went on to win that Masters. But I think it's probably the most famous par 5 that we have on any golf course, and I think that they moved the tee back last year, which was kind of the major storyline. It's a dog leg left, so you really have to like cut that corner. I guess I forget what happened last year, but like I think that like the pine straw is still in play for sure. But I think probably less people can get there if they hit driver. So again, that hole with the creek in front, bunkers everywhere around the hole, is something that I think is one that like can make or break a round. And again, the two holes that we talked about did make or break a round for a particular golfer last year, which we'll get into, who he had a little circus yesterday at Valero, which we can do like a whole podcast on, but this is for the Masters. So kind of that's like, I think you can't really go wrong with 11, 13, obviously 12. The most
Hmm.
probably one of the most famous par threes. But yeah, but before we get into kind of the players, kind of walking through like the odds board, I was wondering kind of like what's your favorite like Masters tradition, kind of favorite part of the Masters that's just like not about like the golf or like players.
Um, I mean, it's somewhat about the players, but I feel like the Champions Dinner is always like a cool tradition, and also just like kind of like seeing like the different like menus that everyone puts
Yeah,
out, and it's like pretty cool to see how like they just like put it out and for like every fan to see, and like some people like tell stories about it, and it's like a very
yeah,
like cool tradition that like I know like the PGA championship like they do that as well, but it's like obviously like not as documented as the
yeah,
Masters is. So I'd say like that is like a very like neat tradition that they
yeah.
have there every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool because like they take like that one picture every
Uh-huh.
year with everyone's wearing their green jacket. You kind of
Yeah.
see how players uh are, are dressing. So I guess that's golf's equivalent to like the NFL coaches meeting where like they all
Yeah.
take
Hmm.
a picture and then like
That
I guess that'll be
picture,
like
yeah.
I guess that'll be like a kind of cool blog to like copy off of Big Cat because Big Cat goes through
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
NFL coaches picture. I maybe I'll make like a that's a great idea. Maybe I do like a
Uh-huh.
thread and go through like
Yeah.
how every golfer is looking and stuff. And I think it's also cool to kind of just see all the legends that
Hmm.
who
Yeah.
go back there and then some that aren't there unfortunately. But kind of my like I love like the par three contest. Like I
Hmm.
think some of the best
Yeah.
memories that we've had with like the
Mhm.
Masters has come. We
I do
had
also. Hmm.
Jack Nicklaus's son made a hole in one on that like
Yeah.
par three that's like a island green, kind of.
Yeah.
Uh, you kind of see like the families come out, the kids, the star
Hmm.
last year, or maybe not star, but Sammy Spieth was out there. Max
Yeah.
Homa, he was out there with his
Hmm.
son, and JT played in that
Yeah.
group. So we had Tony Finau roll his ankle when he was trying to
Yeah. He like pretty
celebrate.
much like dislocated
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
he popped it
I
right
mean,
back in. Yeah.
so I think that's my favorite tradition because I think this is the biggest tournament in golf,
Yeah.
every single
Hmm.
year. There's so much tradition. And I think that these players are like so stressed. They, analyze this course for months. This is their week, their Super Bowl. And I think just seeing the players just be themselves off like the golf course,
Hmm.
which will be pretty interesting. But I just thought because Ricky Fowler hasn't played in the Masters in a while, and he's back here.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with because Homa joined the group of Fowler, Spieth, JT,
Yeah.
or
I
no,
guess we'll have to
yeah. So like,
see then.
I guess we'll
Yeah.
see what happens there. But yeah, that's
On
definitely
Wednesday.
interesting
Yeah.
and kind of some cool traditions that it has. But the people that didn't come to hear us talk about that. The people came to talk about the Masters and the players. So I think we just kind of roll through like the top of the board, kind of talk about some golfers we like, we don't like,
Hmm.
some sleepers, and then we'll give our prediction, and then maybe we can talk through our one and done selection, which I guess we're still talking through. But it would be wrong not to start with Scottie Scheffler, who won the 2022 Masters. Played decently well last year as the defending champ, but he had the most strokes gained from tee to green, I believe, or ball striking,
Yeah.
and he lost like 4 strokes like putting. So very typical for Scotty, but he's the best player in like the world. It's not even close. Um,
Right.
quick stat on tee to green is that Scheffler and the calendar year of 2024, Scheffler ranks first in tee to green per round at 2.73. Second is Xander at 1.86, and it's Hideki and Siwoo at 1.37 ish, and then it's like everyone else. So Scotty's in a league of his own. What are kind of your thoughts on Scotty leading into the tournament this week?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously he took off this week to prepare after he won twice, and then he had a putt to force a playoff the week after, but obviously he missed it. But yeah, I mean, he's in like impeccable form right now. He's proven that he can win here, and he's played here several times now. And going back to what you said, just like the strokes gained tee to green stats are just like absurd for him, and he's so much better than anyone else in that stat at and I feel like that's definitely going to translate over for this week as well. But we've also seen how hard it is to putt at Augusta, and I feel like he could struggle a lot there. So personally, like I believe he's sitting at plus 400 or like plus 450, and I mean like I feel like it's still like a solid bet because like he's probably gonna be in the mix on Sunday no matter what happens, but I personally don't think he's going to win now.
Yeah, it's just you set yourself up for a nice clip when he wins by like 5 strokes. I'll go back and clip this. I do agree with you. I think like putting is just so hard here. You have to be like Spieth has played really well here because of his around the green play, and he's like one of the best lag putters on tour. Since he came out on tour. Scheffler, I think it's a good bet because as you said, like he's gonna contend. I just think that he's gonna put himself in the mix.
Yeah.
It's just, can he make those putts on that big stage? Yes, we saw him at the Players make those putts, but we saw at 2 weeks ago at the Houston Open, he missed a 5-footer to force a playoff to Steven Jaeger. It's not, and this is like a nobody tournament that he doesn't really care about. So I think that's for Scheffler. It's interesting, like how everyone feels about him, because I think he will be in contention. Like, I mean, am I scared of Scotty? Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm scared of Scotty if I'm not going to bet him. But I just think that it would be insane run for him to win 3 of his last 4 tournaments, and at the Masters. But there is a trend that like players who win like a Masters, like a lot of times they win like another one. So if there's ever a time for Scotty to win one, another Masters, it's now, just being so good and so far apart from Xander and then everyone else. Like that's just the stats that are being shown. So if like I don't play daily fantasy, maybe I'll make like a lineup, but like people who are coming here for that, my assessment is like if you take Scotty in any pool, like not like a one and done pool, but any other like Masters pool, like if you take him, like he has to win. If he doesn't win, you don't have a chance. But it also, if he can win, your path to winning still hard because everyone else has him. So it'll be interesting there. But like I go back and forth that like every day I'm like, he's probably going to win. I have people, 5-6 people in the last couple of days text me who I've seen out and stuff, ask me about him, ask me like, what do you do with him? And I'm just like, I'm not gonna take him. I can't bet him at like plus 400. If he wins, like he wins, but he's just so damn good. Like,
Yeah.
insane, and I think what people don't talk about enough, and Andy Lack talks about this a lot on his podcasts and kind of stuff he posts on Twitter, but like he says that Scheffler is just like the best course manager out there. Like he knows where to miss.
Yeah.
If he does miss, yes, he's an insane ball striker, but with him and Ted Scott, people don't really know, or people do know, but like the casual fan doesn't know that Ted Scott has 3 Masters championships. He won 2 with Bubba, which I believe Bubba won 2 in 3 years, and Scotty can do that same thing. So having his caddy, which I know you're very big on, like who's like the most like valuable caddy and stuff, and I really think that does give Scotty a massive advantage too.
Yeah.
So we might look back on this and be like, we're kind of fools for saying that we don't think Scotty will win, but I'd be shocked if he's not in the final group or 2. Sunday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, interesting. But any other thoughts?
Like, I just feel like a point is like, I don't know if it's like really like an underrated part, but like his chipping like around the green is probably the best on tour, and I just feel like kind of gets overlooked a bit because like people always talk about like his ball striking and like how good he's off the tee, and he does get himself in trouble a good amount, but he's just so good with his wedges that it just makes up for it, and I think that's very valuable at the Masters.
Yeah, he's 5th on tour around the green. Our strokes gained around the green in 2024, he's 0.56, which is 5th. Actually, no, I lied. That's 3rd. The 2 other guys are Hatton. That's 8. Oh, wait, this might be... Yeah, no, this is right. This is PJ Tour. Yeah, sorry. Scheffler's 3rd around the green since in 2024. The top 2 other guys, which we'll talk about soon, who are my 2 favorites that I just told you about. But who do you want to go to? Who do you want to go to next? Do you want to talk about Jon Rahm or Rory? Because I'll give you one, and I'll talk about like the other.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about Rory because I just feel like he's currently playing in Valera right now in the final round. I'm not exactly sure where he stands right now, but I know he's probably like top 10. But I just feel like with him is it was documented, and I know you also said this, how he's supposed to get there on Tuesday and he's skipping the par 3 contest, so he's really focusing on his game this year. And there was a very funny like Twitter standoff between like him seeing or like getting lessons from Butch Harmon, and it was like a very weird thing on Twitter, and
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that. But I just feel like personally, he is sitting at 10-1 right now, and I'm still not going to put money on that because I just feel like he just proves over and over again how he can't finish at Augusta. I think he led when he was super young in, I think it was 2011, I think, when Schwartzel won. He shot an 80 on that Sunday, and it just like kind of cursed him the next 12, 13 years. And I don't really care what form he's in, and I feel like this sounds a bit harsh, but I'm just not betting him at the Masters. So
yeah, I mean, my take is the Harmon thing was Butch Harmon thing was weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
What D-Rap's report was, but it came out later. Roy went on like a podcast and he kind of said that he did go see him out there for a day the story with he went on like the happy hour with Smiley and he talked about it.
Yeah.
He just wanted to
Okay.
I mean, I think it's like overblown. I mean, I think like if you're
Right.
struggling or like you want another set of eyes on your swing, like why not go out there? So I don't really read much into it. He just like doesn't start off well at the Masters. Like his round 2 and round 3 averages are in like the 70s. I don't have the exact, but like they're in like the 70s, and I think he needs to start off strong. There's a stat that it's like I think there's always those like trends, but it's pretty much like it's so hard to come back after like the first round if you're not within like it's like I think the threshold is like 3 shots. If you're within 3 shots of like the lead, like after round 1, like that's perfect. Like if you're not, like no one has really won coming from behind from that much because it's just such a hard golf course and like it's so hard to chase. And he just hasn't started off well. You know what? It was 2 years ago where he shot like in like the low 60s.
Yeah.
And like backdoor like a top 5, but like he wasn't even close to contending with Cam Smith and Scottie because it was kind of like a 2-horse race.
Right.
In round 4, he just hasn't figured out Augusta. He doesn't have a routine. He's been on tour forever, it seems like, and he just doesn't have like as you said, like he's changing his schedule. Like he's getting there on Tuesday, no practice or no par 3 contest on Wednesday, and then he's playing on Thursday. But like everyone who has succeeded and has won pretty much has they know I'm gonna get there Sunday night. I'm staying in like the same house with the same people, same chef, caddy, friends, whatever. I get there at 10 a.m. Hit balls, go eat, go play like the front 9, putt, whatever. People have their routines, but Rory doesn't have his. He's still finding it. Patrick said last week that like he like flew in someone like the week of to like help him talk through like the Masters and like his like anxieties with everything. So I think he just needs to go out there and just have fun. Just like not this. I know it's such a big tournament, but he just needs to go out there and just have fun. Be loose and just have a good time. He looks terrified out there. So we kind of talked about like his whole storyline last week. So we'll see what Rory. He's playing well. I think he buried the par 5, the second hole, and I think he put it to like 4 feet on the third hole. But before I get into Rahm, I want to tell you that on the first hole, Hideki chipped in from the bunker.
Oh wow!
For birdie, which we'll get to very soon. But I'll give my Jon Rahm take. I haven't, to be completely honest with everyone, I have not watched much of Jon Rahm, but what I've heard and read is that he's looked good on LIV, but he hasn't looked impressive. Rahm loves traditionally when he's been on tour to play a ton leading up to the Masters. Like he always plays in the American Express. He loves like the Farmers, and obviously plays in all the other big events when he's on tour. But he's not. LIV has not played that many rounds. I think they've played like 4 tournaments leading into like the Masters, so that's only 3 rounds, 54 holes. So not much competitive golf for Jon Rahm. He hasn't won on LIV yet this year. It's so hard for defending champions just to play well. We saw that Sky struggled last year. It hasn't really happened that someone goes back to back unless you're Tiger or one of like the all-time greats. So I guess he can put himself in that conversation. But my main reason for not liking Rahm is just that like he hasn't looked that good. He's not playing that much golf. He's someone that I would rather play a lot of golf. I don't think he's like a Brooks Koepka, who like Rahm's like a nerd of the game. He's admitted that like he does miss the courses on tour and playing a lot during this season. So that's pretty much why I'm out on Rahm, especially at 12-1. I just can't get there. I don't think I'm going to like fade him in like a matchup, but it's kind of like a stay away from me. I mean, if he finishes like top 10, he finishes like top 10, but I just want to see him actually contending on Saturday and Sunday. So Um, who else? There are. Let's Who you want to go to next? I'll have you pick who. We
I
go to
mean,
next.
like you touched on it like before, but you were talking about like strokes gained tee to green and how
Yeah.
Xander has been really good, and I'll definitely let you talk about
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
more, but yeah, like I mean, we obviously saw what happened a couple years ago on 16 when he hit it in the water against Hideki in
Yeah.
21. And the one that Tiger won in 2019, he was T2. And like he's built a lot of good finishes at Augusta, but he hasn't really put it together yet. But also, like, I'm very confident that he can definitely put it together at Augusta because he's in really good form right now. And he's just had like some really
Right.
good finishes at Augusta. So I can definitely let you talk about Schauffele more here.
Uh, yeah. I'll talk about Xander.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if I want to say this or not. I don't know if this is going to bite me in the butt, but I I think Xander wins the green jacket, and I know that you're sitting there laughing inside and out. Uh, I
I'm
said
not.
before a couple of reasons why I think this. Uh, Number one, he is by far the second best player in the world right now, and this year
Hmm.
he is second to Scottie T to Green in 2024 at 1.86. The or behind him is 1.36, so that's half a stroke of a difference. And obviously Scottie is in his own league, so he
Right.
has I think one of the most complete games on tour. If you look at his statistics, he almost always gains strokes in all categories. He has 6 top 10 finishes in 2024. Obviously, contended at the Genesis, was in the mix, obviously, at the Players. As you said, he's played well at Augusta, T2 in 2019 to Tiger, T3 in 2021 to Hideki,
Hmm.
and T10 last year. He also has 7 straight top 10 finishes at majors. That's the last 7 majors he's played in.
Hmm.
So he's
Yeah.
been a wagon at majors.
Yeah.
There's a narrative that like he can't close tournaments. He hasn't won since the Scottish Open in 2022. Uh, and I think the best thing for him is what happened at the Players. He got kicked to the curb, stomped on. Scottie came out of nowhere and finished. He had an opportunity on 18 to try to birdie, or no, he missed a putt on 17. He stuck it,
And
missed like an eight,
mhm. Yeah.
8 leg footer, which wasn't even close. He hit it and like it didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
He goes way right on at the Players, way right off the tee. Doesn't really have a shot. Has like a 60-footer, doesn't go in. So I think the narrative of everything, he's playing such good golf right now. He choked at the Players, and I think if there's any time for him just to break through at a tournament, I think it's this week at the Masters.
Yeah.
So that's
Hmm.
my that's my take. I think he's going to win. I'm probably going to bet him. He's 18-1 or 16-1 on FanDuel. Depending on Spieth and Rory and Hideki right now, like if one of them like shoots like a low round today, I think Xander can get to like 20, 22. That's kind of where he is always at in all these majors. So I'm waiting on that number, but Xander,
Yeah.
I think, is going to win. And also, when we talked about when you brought up Scheffler's around the green play, Xander's second on tour.
Yeah.
Strokes gained
Hmm.
around the green in 2024. So
Yeah.
that's my take. Xander Schauffele is your champion. You heard it here first, I guess.
Yes.
We'd be a fraud podcast if we didn't bring up one of the best players to win a major, Brooks Koepka. He has 5. He's going for 6. Has played well. Give me your Brooks take.
Yeah, I mean, alongside you, haven't really kept up with Liv much, but I feel like with Koepka, I just don't think that even matters. He just kind of like we've seen since he broke through on tour in his first major win in 2017, he's kind of been shown to like flip a switch, and he really hones in his focus around these majors, and he's really proven that he can hang around at Augusta, even the duel with Rahm last year. And I know that he was leading that tournament for a while last year until Rahm kind of caught fire on Saturday and Sunday. But I just think that Brooks is always just like a solid play. And I feel like in the majors, he kind of turns into Scheffler a bit, where like he's going to be in the mix, like no matter what. And I just don't really show too much focus to how he's playing on Live, because it's just so different than the majors, and he's sitting at 16-1 right now.
Yeah.
I will probably throw some coin on that, because I feel like getting Koepka at a major that he hasn't won, but he's proven that he can hang at Augusta at 16-1. I think that's too good of a number to pass up.
Yeah, he's like my third favorite. Probably bet in the top of the range. Koepka 16-1, probably get to 18-1. Obviously, depending on how Spieth, Rory, and Hideki play right now. He has great course history at Augusta. Aside from the 2 years that he was hurt with his knee, he was T2 last year, T7 in 2020, which 2020 was played in November, so it's a completely different course in April and November. And then he was T2 in 2019 to Tiger. He was in the mix there. We know his major history. It's just so funny watching him on Live. I tuned in Friday, and like everyone wears their own, Crushes GC, High Flyers, 4 Aces. He wears his own gear, like his own Nike gear. And it's just so funny. Like he just does not give a crap.
So funny.
So to note, he did change his putter this week. He's still using like a Scottie Cameron, but he's not using. I forget what it's called, but it's like, for your understanding, it's like the same putter that like JT has.
Okay.
Kind of like that putter. I don't know. So
I know that. Yeah.
I guess we'll like kind of see what happens today. I know that there's one certain Live player that might win today who has won a green jacket, which I'll ask you about because his odds now are just insane. It's like, what are we doing here?
Right.
So I have one more like passionate rant to go to, which I'll just get out of the way now. I guess we're going down like the odds board, but man, dude, Hideki is looking solid right now.
Yeah.
Like Scheffler, Hideki, Xander are by 3 of the best players on tour right now. He might be like my favorite play this week, aside from Xander. 2 reasons. He also has won the Masters. He won it in 2021, and then since 2020, he has 3 top 16 finishes. He averages 1.4 strokes per round at Augusta. So he knows how to play around there. He's in form. In his last 6 tournaments, he won at Riviera, and then he has a T6, T12, and a T22, and probably at worst a top 10, maybe at best a top 5 at the Valero Texas Open. He is a strong ball striker with his irons, and also he's a great around the green player. He is, and since in 2024 he averages 0.68 strokes per round around the green in 2024. That is best on tour. So he can use his creativity around these greens, which I think is underrated at Augusta. And he isn't the greatest golfer off the tee, but he is looking good off the tee in recent weeks. He just came off at the Players, his best off the tee performance, a top 5 off the tee performance in his career. And I think he plays well at like the comp courses. He's played well at Kapalua. He's played well at Riv, obviously. Sawgrass he plays well at. So I think Hideki might be like the most popular play this week.
Yeah.
Like, from like the top range, if like you looked at like who's the most tipped golfers, I think Hideki is. I think on FanDuel he's 18-1.
Yeah.
DraftKings, when I looked this morning, he's still 25-1. I think Fanatics has him at 24-1 when I checked. It's very tempting just to take it now. He's not going to win this week because Akshay hopefully wins and get himself in. But man, when people kind of will text me, I know a couple of your friends probably will. A lot of my friends are, texting me, who's like your favorite bet, blah, blah, blah. I'll get my phone's going to blow up this week, which is awesome. I think Xander and Hideki are like the two guys that I'm like, I think these guys, like, you have to play these two guys, especially Hideki with course history. So Hideki, Xander are my two guys I'm going to go to war with this week. And it's going to be pretty fun to watch. So I think with the time that we have, I think we should have like another rant potentially by yourself and I, and then we can kind of like go through like guys that are sleepers, some guys aren't in form, guys to fade. So everyone knows by now, who knows us, Jordan Spieth is our favorite golfer on tour. He's won the Masters in 2015, choked in 2016 on 12, lost to Denny. He's been in the mix at other Masters, but if you ask him, he would say that I haven't really contended since 2016. So, with the Jordan Spieth experience, what are your thoughts of our guy going into the Masters?
Yeah, I mean, he has obviously proven that he is one of the best course fits for Augusta on tour because his short game is just always top tier year after year, and he has finished top 5 6 times in his career at the Masters, and I'm just gonna say it. I think he's gonna be my winner pick. So it could be a little biased, but I just think that he's just played so well here over the past couple and like several seasons. And I know he didn't really contend last year, but he had an insane final round that got him a T4, but I believe he did bogey 18 and he would have been T2. But I've really liked what I've seen from him this week at Valero. He's been driving the ball really well and he's making a lot of putts. And I saw like 2 hours ago, like when he just started his round, he was like tied for second in birdies made, and he was only like T12 because he's just been making too many mistakes. But He hasn't really played great this season, except at the beginning of the season. I think he did well at the Century, I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I just think I just got a really good feeling about him this week, putting it all together. And if his driver behaves like it did this week at Valero, I think he's going to have a really good shot. And I feel like Spieth at the Masters, at 20 to 1, I believe. I think that's just very
Yeah.
good value there as well.
Yeah, going into round 3 at Valero, fourth in the fields off the tee at 3.91.
Hmm.
I like his
Yeah.
profile this week. He's hitting it well with his driver besides the 18th hole yesterday.
Yeah.
Uh, he's gained like 6.8 strokes ball striking. He's losing basically a lot of strokes around the green, which
Yeah.
speed. I'm not going to like go back now, but I don't think I'd bet it's been years since he's lost strokes around the green, like 2 consecutive tournaments.
Yeah.
I hope what happened on 18th hole really also gives him a wake up call to like, dude, like just play it safe. Like,
Right.
I don't know if you remember last year, but his first round, he was 4 shots back of Rahm and Hovland, I believe.
Yeah.
And so he shot 4 under on the front 9. Great, obviously, and will take 4 under. He goes to
Yeah.
Amen corner, and he's +3. 11, he goes in the water, I believe, because he tried to hit some hero shot from like the woods, hits it into the water. The guy he can get up and down from anywhere on this course. Why not lay up to the right side, get up and down? And then he goes on the 13th hole, and he makes a 7 on the par 5, which you have to birdie hole, or 13, sorry. 13th hole, he makes a 7
Yeah. Hmm.
on that par 5. You have to make birdie. You can't make bogey.
Yeah.
You can't make a
Right.
double. And right there, he gives it all back. He finishes strong. He shot a 69. But, dude, I think these last couple of years, he's had 1 or 2 holes where he just looks like an idiot.
Right.
The golf world went by storm at Valero, where he hits it onto a roof, gets a free drop, makes a 7 on a par 5, kind of gets himself out of not contention, but maybe to get like a easy top 5. So, I have a future on Spieth at like 20 to 1. When I had like free bets losing like a same game parlay from like the NFL, NBA stuff, I'm like, I might as well put like $5 on Spieth at like 19 to 1, 20 to 1. Not probably like the smartest play, but I have to use that $5 free bet. So I think I have like around like $10 on him at like +2 or +20 to 1, 19
Yeah.
to 1 ish. So I obviously love Spieth. I do think if I had to say, I think this is probably a year that he actually will really contend. I think what happened yesterday really helps.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I think golf really needs him in this. Like, golf needs him
Yeah.
to be
I
contending.
think so too. Hmm.
He's that like he draws views. I know that like
Yeah.
Scheffler's good, Rahm's good, Koepka will he'll draw in views, but like the whole Spieth experience, what happened yesterday, like golf needs it. Hopefully they give him like a good like draw with tee times. So those are kind of the
Yeah.
guys at the top of the range I kind of wanted to kind of voice my opinion on, get you a chance to kind of talk through. These next couple guys, I don't know, you have the ranges of like 25 and beyond, like Neiman, Clark, Hovland, Cantlay, Zalatoris, Cam Smith, JT, Bryson, DJ, Fleetwood, all of those guys. So I guess with the time that we have remaining, kind of like who are some guys that just like quickly like stick out to you, guys that you think can play well, guys that you're not on, I have one guy that or two guys that I have an opinion that I won't be on, but kind of what are
Okay.
some guys that
hmm
you like? Give me one guy. We'll start there.
So the first guy who sticks out to me, whose number is pretty high, is I think Shane Lowry. Like, I just think he has a really good chance to compete, and he's also proven to be a major champion. Um, he finished top 25 in his past four Masters. Um, and I believe he has finished top five twice in his last three PGA Tour starts as well. He took the week off for this week, and then I believe he was playing in the DP World Tour event the week before, which I believe he was like top 30 still. So like he's still playing in really good form right now. And I just think at 50 to 1, I think that's worth a sprinkle. And I'm going to be definitely trying to bet him in matchups and maybe like a
Yeah,
finishing position top 10 or
I like
top
that.
20. And I'd say a second guy who like I'm not really sure what to think about him, and I think you'll probably agree with me, is Hovland. He's been just like really weird this season. He hasn't played in a while. And at 30 to 1, it looks appeasing because he's such a good player and he was tied for the lead, as you said, this past Masters with Rahm at 7 under par. And I don't know if you wanted to talk about him for a bit, but like I really don't know what to think about him.
Yeah, I mean he's just struggling around the green. I think he's still trying to like find his swing. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but he just hasn't looked good.
hmm
We've been frustrated with him. Obviously, we got caught on PJ Tour Live.
Yeah,
Pretty frustrated on hole 2 or 3 at
I think it
the
was
API, or
2.
yeah, hole
Yeah,
2. I just his around the green play is just like if he's not hitting. Honestly, he's always going to gain strokes from off the tee, but he just doesn't. He just doesn't look
right.
confident. Like something's up. I don't know if it's a injury. I know he split with Joe Mayo. His I don't know if it's swing coach. I know it's like his around, like his
Yeah.
short game coach, but he's something that or someone I'm kind of gonna like keep an eye on of what people are saying on the grounds.
hmm
Him and Cantlay are very similar, as you said. Neither of these guys have played since the Players. Cantlay also, like, dude, he's played in 7 tournaments this year. In 6 of those tournaments, he has lost strokes from approach. This guy is known as one of the best ball strikers we
Yeah.
have on tour. He's not playing, not hitting it well from approach. He really only contended at the Genesis and choked that lead. He lost 6 strokes from approach at the Players. So Hovland and Cantlay not playing recently. It's telling me that like they're really struggling. They're
Yeah.
taking the time outside of tournament play and grinding to find their swing. That's something that you don't want to be finding when you go to the Masters. You don't want to be getting there on the grounds
hmm
being like, I don't know where the
Yeah.
ball's going. I'm not confident in anything. You don't want to be trying to find your swing.
Right. hmm
Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm out on both of them. Cantlay hasn't really played well at Augusta in general since 2019. He has lost strokes putting. I think the last 3 times he's played the Masters, he's lost strokes putting. So he's someone I'm going to be heavily fading in the matchup. Hopefully, I get someone that I like. So what from the group of Joaquin Niemann, Cam Smith, Bryson, DJ? I guess I'll throw in like Terrell Hatton for shits and gigs. But out of those guys, like who do you take from Liv? I know that you haven't watched much, but like out of
Um,
that group, like who do you take?
I would say Cameron Smith. I feel like he's the best play out of those guys. I know that Neiman's won on Live twice in the 4 tournaments that they've completed. But I just feel like Smith, again, I've said this point about other guys. He's just proven that he is like a big time player, and in the majors, he's played very well. We obviously talked about him and Scheffler's kind of like two-man battle in 2022, and he won the Open a couple of years ago as well. So I would think that Cameron Smith is the best play there at 33-1. I'd rather take him at 33 than Neiman at 25, but I know
Yeah.
that Neiman is a very like trendy, popular pick among golf Twitter right now because everyone looks at like current form, which I definitely agree with that. But it's just like, how does like live translate to the majors? I mean, we saw that they had three of the top six last year at Augusta with Brooks, Phil, and Patrick Reed, but I just don't really trust Neiman at 25-1. I'd rather take Smith at 33-1.
You know
Yeah,
that Cam Smith withdrew from Live this week?
I actually did, and I totally forgot about that.
I don't know I'm trying to look on Twitter for what. I don't know if he's like sick or something, but yeah, he withdrew from Live. I'm not sure what happened, but
I did.
um,
I did see that, but like I just completely forgot about it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't get the Neiman number. I I I texted you yesterday before, like I think before Hideki like went off. I mean, or probably like in the middle of it, but or maybe it was Friday. But Hideki was 25-1, and Joaquin Neiman was also 25-1, and I'm like, who's taking Neiman over Hideki?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way I'm doing that. Clark's like 28-1, which you have Oiber and Clark, who are both first timers, so I'm not really on them. Uh, Two guys I want to talk about before we wrap up. I know we're at 40 minutes. Kind of wanted to keep this under like 45 minutes, but
Okay.
Zalatoris and JT. I have futures on them. I did the same thing when I had like a bonus bet $5-10. I just put it on them. JT has a new caddy. He split with Bones, which was pretty breaking news this week. I don't know what to think of it. I think it might like be like a panic move. Like, you have Bones on your bag, who has won multiple times here. Maybe the greatest caddy of all time. Won with Phil, and he just split with him, which I thought, don't really like that. He's losing strokes off the tee. He's saying his irons well, but he looks a little bit lost. He's at 35-1, which is actually like where I have him as my future. So I guess I didn't really get any value from that. But man, like what happened last year with JT? He missed the cut. There's like that picture of like Bones holding like the umbrella. He's like about to cry, which actually helped Tiger make the cut. But as you know, as we're kind of the Spieth, Fowler, and JT, truthers, like, what's your JT opinion?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a read on JT because he's just kind of struggling. And as you said, I definitely agree. It's definitely a panic move to sever ties with Bones. I'm not like that surprised about it. I don't really know
100%.
why, but
100%.
yeah, I wouldn't touch him this week. Like he's at 35-1, and there's like a lot of players that are much better value that have better odds than him, in my opinion. So I don't really have much of like a truly strong opinion on JT because it's definitely hard to
Right.
tell, but I wouldn't put him in like any daily fantasy lineup, and I definitely wouldn't bet on him for this week.
Yeah, I'm not endorsing JT. I have a ticket on him, but it's a free bet.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But Zalatoris is a guy that I like if I could buy stock in a golfer in 2024, I was pretty high on Will Zalatoris. And he's played here twice. He's played really well here at Augusta.
Yeah.
He's a great ball striker, as we know, but he started really well with his putter. He kind of improved every single week, kind of heightened at the Genesis, but he's kind of lost that mojo with his putter, with his broomstick, however people feel about the broomstick or not.
Yeah.
But he's gained strokes putting his 2 times he's played the Masters, so he's an interesting guy. I think if you're going to take a flyer on a guy around this like 30 to 50 range, like I think Zalatoris is probably my favorite. Going from like the live guys, going back to that question, I think just DJ. I think like hopefully he has like one more contention in him. He won in 2020, but he's something that I'm really looking forward to see. But I mean, there's some guys like that we love. Colin Morikawa, 50-1. That might be even worse. He might be like he could be like 60 to 70-1, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is probably a joke. Homa, 55-1. Who we love. Burns, 55-1. Connors, I think, could be a sleeper at 80-1. He plays well at Augusta. Sergio might win. Live Miami. He's now 90-1. Sung Jae is 100-1. Adam Scott, I think, might be my favorite. One of my favorite plays at 110-1. Like he's won. He's playing really good golf. He's kind of slowed up a little bit, but course history means a lot here. Usually the guys who play well here play in year and year out. We talked about that with Patrick, with Phil last week. Phil is 150-1, which not sure how you get to that. You're kind of just giving, FanDuel some free cash, but we could talk of I think we could probably go on for another hour talking about the Masters. I don't, to kind of summarize everything for the people who, if they got this far, I think Hideki and Xander are my 2 favorite plays. I think Xander's my pick to win right now. I love Spieth, always at the Masters. Not that high on Rahm and Rory. Brooks, I might get there. Zalatoris is my favorite play in like the 33-1 range. And probably Scott at 110. But I'm just so excited for this week, as you are.
Best week.
Any final closing remarks before we hop off and
I guess I'll just do
top 3,
like similar to what you did, kind of recapping. I definitely like Xander as well. I think you made very good points about him. Hideki's in fantastic form. Spieth is my pick to win, and I really like Shane Lowry in like the finishing position market and the matchups.
I think we got to do some sort of. So for the people out there, we are doing a pool with our friend of the program, Evan Pearson. So we pick 5 golfers in every major, and once you use a golfer, you can't use them again. And it's just based on their scoring every single round.
Per round.
Mm-hmm. So we have that going on, which will, I'll post our lamp on Twitter. I'll post our cards. I guess we had to decide with Jack and Dad what we're doing for a little family thing. I guess we'll discuss that. But it's a pretty hectic week. It's been kind of fulfilling, to be honest, that starting this podcast and just like stuff on Twitter that like people reach out and ask like my like opinions on things. Like it's kind of hard to like kind of like, I do like a lot of work outside of my 9 to 5 job. It's fun, and like just putting stuff out there and people, seeing it, and then asking for my opinion has been like pretty cool, and I think it's gonna be pretty hectic this week. So what if I had to find time with Evan to kind of have like a conference call?
Yeah,
I
100%.
was thinking about just like doing this and having him on too. But we'll get Evan on. But I think maybe another Twitter space with CJ Romer, who is like
Yeah.
Scottie Scheffler, like the biggest Scottie Scheffler fan. He says that he invented Scottie Scheffler. He was on him 2 years ago. The Rome effect. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
excited for the content this week, and I think we'll do a reaction pod with you next Sunday, and
Okay.
I think Xander's gonna win, but dude, if Spieth has that green
Wins?
jacket by the time that's next Sunday night that we post we do a reaction pod.
Yeah. If it
I
happens, yeah.
don't know what I'll do.
Yep, and I'd probably be swimming in money, running around my room. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll help our trip to Europe with Ethan. That's what I told Mom. I'm like, Justin, I need Jordan Spieth to win the Masters. So
Yeah.
but you know where to
100%.
find me. Justin, Twitter. I'll plug your stuff at Justin Segal 11, posting about Penn State
Yes.
basketball. Good stuff. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Like and follow, please.
Subscribe. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. It's gonna be a fun week, and catch you guys next week.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, how do I do this?
Okay.